Hello, Summer Learning listeners. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to join you here as a presenter and being able to talk to you today about some Google tips and tricks to help you save some time as a teacher, administrator, just general ed tech user. So I am very honored that Casey has asked me to be a part of this awesome group of presenters. In my normal time, I work as a K-12 technology integration specialist here in Louisville, Kentucky at Christian Academy School System. We have one campus here in Louisville and one across the Ohio River in southern Indiana. So I spend my time driving across the bridge and being able to service teachers and help them work smarter and efficiently with what they have at hand in their classroom and being able to present lessons effectively and have access to the technology that they need. So I hope you will enjoy this presentation today and just find one little tidbit of new knowledge that you can incorporate in your organizational workflow as you move forward and get ready for the fall semester. So come with me over and let's talk a little bit about some Google tips and tricks. All right, so here we are. As I said, I'm Susan Vincentz, and we're going to talk a little bit about some Google time-saving tips and tricks today. As I said, I work for the Christian Academy School System here in Louisville. My contact information is there on the slide. You can reach me at susan@techimaginations.net, on my website at techimaginations.net, or Facebook, X, Instagram, at SV314DWS. Some of my credentials are listed there. I'm proud to be a Shake Up Learning trainer, Google certified, Moat certified, Wakelet ambassador, Flip ambassador, all those good things. Again, I love helping teachers day to day and incorporating some of these tools, among others, into their day-to-day instructions to help them work more efficiently. So, let's talk about this. Are you feeling overwhelmed with Google? Are you one of those teachers who, you have the basics, but do you ever feel overwhelmed? Do any of these images apply to you on your device, whether you're using a laptop, a desktop computer, some kind of tablet device, your phone? We've seen desktop computers or desktop screens that look like this. That stresses me out. Or are you one of these people who have several tabs open? I know Casey has referred to herself as a tab hoarder at times on her podcast. And, many times we'll get to working and we'll overwhelm ourselves because we have all these tabs open across the top. And then it wants to warn us. And then even more tabs. You have too many tabs open. So just think about those things. Or on your phone or on your tablet, how many red circles do you have with huge numbers in them? Again, this stresses me out. I can't handle it. So I have to have myself a workflow or a system of organization to process these things so it doesn't overwhelm me as I'm moving forward. Or in your email box. Oh my goodness, look at that number. So many emails. And then on your phone, you can't take another photo because you do not have a place to store it. Find a place to process those emails, process those photos, and know where you're going to put them so that you don't get overwhelmed with these types of messages. Or in your Google Drive, how many untitled documents, presentations, forms, sheets, how many of those do you have? First of all, give it a name. But second of all, again, find a way to organize these. And I hope some of the things that I share with you today will help you find a way to, number one, title these, and number two, find a place to put them for easy access when you need them. And, I don't know if any of us are this old. I am this many years old where, we stored information there. Thankfully, I don't anymore, but, I remember these days. So, here's a few little funnies, we do get proud of ourselves when we do finally organize our Google Drive. And, when you feel your life needs to get in order, I just organize my computer files. Our end of the school year was just last week, and I was cleaning up my Google Drive, and it does help you feel great relief when you do this. And then, sometimes as teachers, as educators, we convey this to our students, that organization is key. Keep your agenda items, keep your stuff together so you can bring it to class and know what you need to bring. And then your own Google Drive may or may not look the way it does, like I showed you earlier. So let's talk about some time savers. So we're going to talk a little bit about these 5 things here. I want to talk a little bit about some time savers with Gmail, with Google Chrome, Google Drive, using Google Tasks, and Google Calendar. So we're going to kind of break these down into different categories using each tool one by one, and talk a little bit about some time saver tricks and tips and tricks. Some of these you may have heard of. Some of these may be new to you. So I hope you find at least one thing that will help make your job and your life a little more easier to access and easier to organize. And I would also like to thank John Sowash for the use of some of his images and tutorial graphics that are included throughout this presentation. He has a similar presentation that I've seen, and I've adapted that. So with his permission, I've used some of his graphics here. So check him out over at John Sowash and his Chromebook Classroom tutorials. So let's talk about your mail. If you're a Gmail user, which many of us are if we're a Google for Workspace for Education school system. So if you didn't already know, your Gmail can be set to automatically categorize messages on your behalf. Now, some people love this, and some people just want to be in control, and you want to organize your mail yourself. So if you're one of these people who like just to have your mail categorized, notice in John's graphic here, you have these choices, these 5 choices. You can do primary. You can make your email go to a promotional folder. You can have it categorized into social, updates, and forums. So I'm going to show you some examples here. So I'm going to come over here to my mail, and you see I have my mailbox set up. I'm going to come over here to my settings gear. So usually you're going to find that on the top right-hand corner of your Gmail screen. So click on that. And then usually I click on See All Settings. You can scroll down here and you can do the priority inbox or the different inboxes. But I'm going to show you from the main thing. So I want to do See All Settings. And then when I click on that See All Settings, I'm going to come over here to the Inbox Settings. When I click on Inbox, notice I have these choices here, and I can uncheck them or I can check them. So what's going to happen is when I tell Gmail that I want these checked, then it's going to automatically take my messages and put them in these categories of what it thinks they should be. So if it's an email from a vendor telling me about the latest special or the latest new tool that's coming out, it's going to put these into promotional. So when I come back to my inbox, you will now see these updates up here at the top. And then you can notice up here in my promotion section, I do have one new message, and it looks like it's from Etsy. So it's a promotional. Some Etsy seller is sending information about the latest product that they have out on sale. So my primary inbox, that will still be my regular messages that I already had up here. And then if I get social messages, so if you get messages from Instagram, updates from Facebook, and so on, that would be the case. And then you have updates and forums that would do the same thing. So that's categorizing your Gmail into these categories. So then let's talk about archiving. Now, some of us have accidentally used archive and we don't know where a message has gone. And again, this image from John shows you, to not be that person who's saving messages in your inbox. Saving them in your inbox is not an effective way to save your messages because that's just going to overwhelm you and make it look cluttered. So, if I come over here to my inbox, I'm going to click on my message, and then I have these 3 buttons up here. One of them is archive, one of them is to report spam, then you have trash, and then you have some others, and we're going to talk about these in a minute. So normally, if I want to get rid of a message and just get rid of it completely because I don't need it anymore, I'm going to hit delete. But notice you have another button here right beside your trash can, which is inside the message, or you can click it from up here at the top above your inbox. And this is archive. So if I click archive, it gets rid of that message, but it doesn't delete it. It just archives it. Now, you might have accidentally hit that button before and you don't know where in the world that email went. And you're like, I need that email. So if you are an archiver, you have to look over in all mail. So you're going to go over to your left-hand menu, and many times you may not see it right away. You may have to click the More button underneath your inbox, sent items and draft and such. Click on the More button, and then you're going to find the tab that says All Mail. When I click on All Mail, notice you have all of your messages here. Okay? Here is that one that was in the promotional folder, and then here is the one that I just archived. And then all of my other mail that may be in other folders, or what we call labels, which we will discuss in a moment, is all showing up here under all mail. So if you archive a message, it's going to go out of your inbox, your primary inbox. You're going to click on More, and then you're going to click on All Mail, and it's going to be there. Now we're going to drag our message back up here to our regular inbox, so we may need that later. So that is archiving. You know, you'll feel like you're deleting that message and you won't know where it's gone. So you have to search and look for it in the archived messages. And then any replies, even though you've archived that message, any replies to that message will come back to your inbox. So keep that in mind as you go along. So then let's talk about these other actions that I was pointing out. So if I click on my message, I have the archive button up here. Here I can report it as spam. That's if you get some questionable. Here you can delete. You can mark it as unread, but this is one of the other ones that I want to point out. Snooze. So this is one of those things to help you work a little bit more efficiently. If you have all of these messages in your inbox, and that could be a little overwhelming, and you know this is one of those messages that you don't need to take care of right away. You may need to do that 3 days later. So I can snooze that. So if I highlight this message, I might want to check mark it, and then I'm going to click the snooze button. And notice it will give me some choices. I can snooze it until later today, tomorrow, later this week, so on. Or I can pick a date and time. So let's say I want to pick the date and time. So I want to snooze this until Wednesday at 8 a.m. So I'm going to hit save there. It goes away from your inbox. Now notice again back over here to the left, if we need to find that message, I can click on my snooze email. And notice that will come up right there. So that way I don't have to see this in my inbox. I have it in my snooze messages if I need it again. And so what will happen is Wednesday at 8 a.m., I'm going to go ahead and put that back in my inbox again, but Wednesday at 8 a.m., that snoozed message will re-deliver to your inbox and be there for you to take care of. So that is snoozing. And we talked about snoozing. Here's a graphic, again, from John Sowash that will let you know how to do that. And then I want to talk about one of my favorite Google tools. And I wasn't one of those people who embraced this tool right away, but in the last 2 years or so, I have really embraced this tool, and that is Google Tasks. So over on the side of your mail, if you do not have it expanded, you will want to do that. So take a look. Take a look over on the right-hand side of your mail screen. And there will be a little arrow right at the bottom right. Click that arrow and it's going to expand out some other tools. You'll see a calendar where you can quickly look at your calendar, Google Keep, and then right underneath that with the blue circle with the check mark inside, you're going to see Google Tasks. And you can also open this in another tab, tasks.google.com. But I like to use it right here within my Gmail and in my calendar, which we'll look at in a bit. So if I click here, I can see my daily to-do list. Right now I do not have anything on it. But the nice thing about Google Tasks is I can have several lists. So here is just some weekly tasks. Again, I don't have anything on those right now. And my tasks. So if I want to just add a general task of reply to administrators' emails, I can have that. I can just have that general right there on my to-do list. When I take care of it, I can just simply check mark it. But one nice thing is if I have an email message right here that I need to take care of, I can simply drag, and notice how it tells me I can drop that to create a new task. So I drop that in, and then if I want to make sure I take care of this by a certain time, this is very nice. I can add the date. I want to take care of this by Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. and I click OK. And it's going to set up there for me. And notice it will have that there. So then, when I click on my calendar, notice over here, it tells me Wednesday at 9:30, I have a task that I need to take care of. And then it will send me a notification and remind me that I need to take care of that task. And all of those details are right there in the email. So I simply drag, drop, add a date if I choose. I have the drop down here. I can move it to a different list if I need to. So maybe I need to move this to my weekly task. So now if I drop this down, it'll show up here. And then notice some other things. I can have this repeat. So if I know that this is a task that I need to take care of on Wednesday at 9:30 every week, I can have it repeat weekly, customize a date. So again, this is one of my favorite tools as we go through. Now let's talk about labels. Now this is something most of us are familiar with. Labels in Gmail are just like folders if you're used to a different email client. So when you create a label, it's like creating a folder, just a place to put all like messages together. So notice right here, I have a reply and follow-up. So if I don't want several messages in my inbox, I can simply drag and drop over here to my reply and follow-up, and then I know I need to go take care of the messages that are in this folder. So if I want to add a message to a label, I simply just click on it, highlight it here, check mark it, and then I'm going to come up here to the top where all of those other extra icons were, and then I'm going to choose the one that looks like a little price tag label right here. I can choose one that I've already done, or I can create a new one. So we're going to create a new one just to use as an example today. This is an example label. If I have a label already created and I want to create this as a sub-label, I can nest that underneath the one that already exists. So here I'm going to hit create, and notice it will just alphabetize right here. Then I can simply drag, drop that message into that label, and then I have all of what I need there. And then if I want to edit any of my labels, I can click the three dots right next to them, click the three dots. I can edit the name, I can remove it here. I can even make it whatever color I would like, so that way it will stand out to me. I'm a sucker for color coding and having them look a certain way so that I can quickly find the one I need. If I just remember, oh, that one has the orange label, I want to drag it there. So simply just click on the message, create the label if you do not already have one created for it. If not, simply drag and drop it, and it can be dropped into multiple labels. So notice it will be here. Now it's here. I'm going to bring it back to my inbox, and then I can just simply keep dragging and dropping and have it be wherever I want it to be. So let's switch gears and turn our focus over to our Google Chrome browser after we've learned a little bit about Gmail. So again, like we talked about earlier, hopefully your mind isn't looking like this with all of these tabs. You know, sometimes our mind may feel that way. We have a dozen tabs open. Some of them are frozen and we can't figure out where the music is coming from. Does your brain ever feel that way? Which looks like what your screen looks like. And, you know, adding them to her bookmarks, and, you know, she writes the URLs on the bookmarks. So, you know, just some funny humor to go along with our conversation today. So let's move on and talk about organizing our Chrome. So one of the huge ways to organize your Google Chrome browser is by using your bookmarks bar. And if you look at the top of my screen, you'll see my bookmarks bar with various symbols and things across it. You'll see some folders, you'll see some icons and various things. So you do have the 3 dots over here. That will be your drop-down menu to do what you need to do in Google Chrome. So make sure you go to your bookmarks and make sure you are seeing your bookmarks bar. So notice I click on my bookmarks and lists, and it asks me if I want to hide my bookmarks bar. Right now, if you're not seeing something that looks like what I'm looking at up here, you might need to hit show your bookmarks bar. So make sure you click show bookmarks bar and you're seeing that. And this graphic will show you how to do that. And then you also have a side panel that we're going to look at, and we'll look at that here in a few minutes. So make sure you can see your bookmarks bar. And then one thing I want to point out that's pretty new here on the bookmarks bar is the reading list. So, you know, you have those articles or videos or podcasts that you come across, but you don't have time to read them thoroughly. And Google used to have an app called Google Reader that I loved, and I would store and subscribe to all my blog posts there that I wanted to read, and they took that away a few years ago. But they've kind of brought it back here in this format with the reading list. So to get to that reading list, one thing you may want to do first is enable it and make sure you can find it. So click on the 3 dots up at the top right, and then you're going to click on where it has the little star where it says bookmarks and list. This is also where we went earlier to show our bookmarks bar. And then you're going to find reading list. So click on reading list and click show reading list. So then it's going to pop out a tab over here on the right. And then what you can do is use the pen here. Right now, if I click unpin, it's going to take it away. But I want to click that pen, and it's going to save that reading list icon right up here where I can now quickly get to it and not have to go through the 3 dots every time. So we went through the 3 dots, bookmarks and list, and we want to show our reading list. So now this is where you can add things to the reading list. So let's say we go to Casey's blog on shakeuplearning.com, and we click on her blog, and I found this awesome post about planning for AI for school leaders and districts, but I don't have time to read that right now. So notice what I can do is I can take this and I can add the current tab. So you're going to look for the menu at the bottom. I want to add this tab to my reading list. So now I can close that tab. And then if I want to close this, then I want to come back to it later. I can click. That tab will open right there, ready for me, and then I can read that article that I want to read and move on. So that's the reading list. That is a pretty new feature of Google. So when it pins, it will pin right up here on the top right. And then one thing I like to do as I'm working and I get, you know, that picture that we had with so many tabs open earlier, I like to lessen that real estate. So this little GIF shows you how to move your tabs over and pin them. So what I'm going to do is my email is something that I probably want to leave open all day long, but I don't want to have that long tab because I want room to be able to fit more. I can simply right click on this tab, click pin, and then it will make it smaller and it will pin it over here to the left, so then I can quickly get to it. And then I can just move on with my other work. So again, if I wanted to pin my calendar tab, I'm going to right click, click pin, and then it will pin it over here. And then if I don't want them pinned any longer, I can simply right click, click unpin, and it will be right there ready for me. And again, you can drag and drop your tabs into any order that you like. Now, one thing that is, again, fairly new to Google is creating a group. So do you ever have all these tabs open and you're working on a project and you're researching, or you're working on this, or you're a multitasker or a task switcher that you're going from one project to another and so on and so forth? So maybe I need to create a group to categorize my tabs just to easily navigate and to keep my mind focused on what I'm doing. So what I might want to do here is maybe my email and my calendar I want to put into a group. So what I'm going to do is right click on my email tab, and I'm going to come down here and add tab to new group. And I'm going to name this group. I'm going to just say messaging. And maybe I want this group to be red, and I want to save the group. So then that's in a tab, but then I want my calendar to be in that tab. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to right click on my calendar tab, and I want to add it to a group, but I don't want it to be a new group. I want to add it to that messaging group. So it's going to turn it, give it a red border. And then if I click on that group name, notice how it will contract those, and that way you have a little bit of real estate left. And again, I might want to add my Shake Up Learning to a new group that I'm working on, blog posts. And I want to make that yellow. And again, I want to add this Tech Imagination to a group. I don't want to create a new group. I want it to be in that same group. So now I have all of these groups here, and I can task switch or multitask to my little heart's content. And then you can also right click. You can add a new tab to the group from here. You can ungroup them. You can delete the group altogether. You can even take the group and move it out to a new window if you have that group and it's a specific thing you want to focus on. Maybe you need to bring it out to a new window. So that is creating a tab group. This has become another one of my favorite new features of Google to just help keep my mind organized. And again, the color coding is a good option there to just keep it looking nice. And you know, if it's color coded, at least it looks organized. Whether it is or not, it might be organized in your own brain, maybe not to someone else, and that's okay. So now let's talk about switching gears again. Let's move away from Google Chrome, and let's come over to our Google Drive. And we talked about how, you know, as teachers, we talk about our students being organized, but sometimes we're the ones that's not really that organized ourselves. And, you know, think about what Google Drive might have been in the 90s, is all of these little card catalog drawers. So let's think about our Google Drive as that card catalog. Let's create a drawer or a home to put all of those files in. All of those cards need to go into a file. So you do have three main areas of Google Drive, and many of you already know this. This is basic stuff, really. You have My Drive, which is where all of your files and folders, that's your main screen where everything is going to show up. That's the things that you own and the things that you have added shortcuts that people have shared with you if you have added a shortcut there. That's where you're going to find all of your files. And then number two are the shared drives. Shared drives are those drives that are not owned by any one person. They may have been created by either you, a team member, or your organization to keep you working more efficiently. So that way, a shared drive, if you are a fourth grade team and you have a shared drive, and unfortunately one of those team members gets a job elsewhere, and those files that they have created, lesson plan templates and those types of things, those are not going to be unavailable to you and the rest of the team because it's a shared drive, not one person owns it. And then you have shared with me, and that's not a drive, it's a filter. Shared with me are things that Teacher B over here have shared with you the lesson plans for that week, or the principal has shared with you this new professional growth template, and you may need to process that. Yes, leave it and share it with me because that's where it's going to stay. Do not try to clean it out. And then you're going to make a shortcut for that in order to process and put it where you want it. And we're going to talk about that as we move forward. So, first things first, categorize those files into folders. Know the difference. So if I click on my Google Drive, I have folders here, which have a folder symbol there, and then I have files, which have the various file symbols, whether it's the blue Google Doc symbol, whether it's a PDF, whether it's a presentation, so on and so forth. I have files and I have folders. So, don't have that cluttered look like we looked at that desktop screen earlier with all of those untitled documents just thrown in there. First of all, give them a name, know what they are, and then process them, put them somewhere so that you know where to find them. So find a home for those files and house them in a folder. So think of that card catalog. Think of the folder as the drawer that you pull out, and the files, the cards that you put inside of that drawer. Or in a neighborhood, you have the house, then you have the people that live in the house. So your folder is the house, your files are living in those folders. So use folders. You can create those with the new symbol over here. Create the folder, then drag and drop files inside of them as needed. Then you can organize again. Here comes color coding back into the picture. If I want things to look nice and be able to stand out to me, I like to use colors. So I can right click on the folder, click on organize, and I can make it whatever color that I choose to. Whether it's every elementary thing is going to be orange, everything that has to do with conferences is red, or you're just making them a color and you will know it just by the way it stands out. So you right click, give it a color, use those colors to keep it organized. And then you can also use special naming to organize folders. And then here's one Chrome extension that you can load, Emoji Keyboard by Joy Pixels. And there's also copypastecharacter.com. And if you use one of those, you can simply right click on a folder, rename it, and once you have copied or pasted that emoji there, you can you copied it from either the emoji keyboard or copy paste character. You paste that emoji right there in the name and it will save. Or I can simply just use a numbering system. If I put a number 1 here, notice that it will organize it and make that folder come up first. Or if I use the emojis from the emoji keyboard or copy paste character and I put those symbols in front of the name, those things with symbols are going to come up to the top. So if I were you, I would take my folders that I want to appear at the top and use the symbols for those folders. So that's just something to help keep you organized, making it look nice. Pleasing to the eye sometimes helps it be less overwhelming. And then using shortcuts. So taking those files that have been shared with you. So if I hit my shared with me, and then I need to take one of these files, I can just simply click on the 3 dots, or I can open the file itself, and it will let me add a shortcut. So if I click on it, if that's been shared with me, one of the other Shake Up Learning team members have shared it with us before, and then I have a little symbol here where I can add shortcut to Drive. Click on the add that shortcut, and then it will let you organize. So if I want to put this in my elementary items folder, I'm going to simply click add, and then it will add there in the elementary items. So when I click on that, notice that is right there ready to go. So using shortcuts is huge to get those things from the shared with me filter. They're going to stay there still, but to get them to a place in your drive that you're going to know where they are is a huge thing here. So then let's switch gears one more time and organizing our Google Calendar and Google Tasks. Now we talked about Google Tasks a little bit in having to do with Gmail a while ago. Well, it will also work with your calendar, and it will collaborate well to keep you organized. So, using this to, you can either pick one of these buttons. You can use Google Calendar to neatly organized, or you can just cover your desk in sticky notes there. So just another humorous little meme there to keep us working. So we talked about how to access tasks from the sidebar of your Gmail app. You can also access Google Tasks from your Google Drive app and your Google Calendar app. So if you have Google Calendar app, your Google Tasks will also show up there, so you can access those either way there. Well, that brings us to the end of this presentation for the Summer Learning Series for Shake Up Learning. I'm so happy that you watched, and I hope that you found one good thing that will be useful to you as you begin the new school year. And anytime you need me, please use my contact information, and I'll be happy to reach out, collaborate, talk about any of these tools and how you're using them. So I would encourage you to try one of these and let me know how it goes. And again, thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you again soon. Bye-bye.